welcome to Callista's classroom. Good day. And I say thank you for joining us if you're a new subscriber, and if you're an old subscriber, I say thank you so much for keeping and staying tuned to this channel. Now, without wasting much of our time, remember that if you are a UTME candidate for this year 2024 examination, you have barely 3 or 4 days to go. Remember, the exam kicks off on the 19th of this month and runs through for a period of 10 days, which is to come to an end on the 29th of April this month. So, biology candidates, I'm here to help you. I'm here to make sure that you are reading and reading right. And I want to also make sure that the past questions which you are solving, you're also solving it in line with the JAMB syllabus. Remember that I had episode 1 of a video where I looked at the JAMB syllabus in biology, and I made you understand that this JAMB syllabus in biology has normally the biology topics in JAMB are there are 22 topics, but JAMB has grouped them into 5 groups. The 22 topics have been narrowed down into 5 groups, and I explained that in the first video. Now in the second part, if you want to get explanation on that, you can look at the last video I uploaded. Now today we're looking at episode 2 of that first video, which is dealing with past questions that are from JAMB syllabus in biology. So we're looking at questions that always, possible questions that JAMB would always ask. Why would they always ask that question? Is it jazz? Is it somehow some kind of magic? How do I know? You don't need to ask or bother yourself, but because I am teaching you this in line with the JAMB syllabus in biology, and it's already right that JAMB will ask their questions based on their syllabus. So without wasting much of our time, let us dive right into some past questions that I've picked for you so that we can do this together and we can get a very high score in this year's UTME examination. So without wasting much of our time, let us dive right into question number 2. Let's go. It says, which of the following is an example of microorganisms in action as a disease vector? So they are concerned with those that are microorganisms and at the same time they are disease vectors. Do you understand? Remember what a disease vector. So it's not just about being a microorganism, but it has to be a disease vector, meaning it has to be an animal or an insect that carries a pathogen that causes that disease. Do you understand? That is what a vector is. So number 1 option says A. Okay, sorry, I didn't write B. So number 1 option says A, fungi decomposing dead plant material. Now, what is a fungi? Because A says fungi decomposing dead plant material. They even gave us a hint, dead plants. The fungi naturally is that organism that belongs to the kingdom fungi. And they are known to have structures that look like plants, but the only major thing is that they don't have chlorophyll. They tend to have rhizoids that they use in place of roots, just like the plants we use. Do you understand? But they don't have roots. Do you understand? What they have is a rhizoid. So a fungi does not have chlorophyll, and the fungi is known to feed through what we call saprophytic mode of nutrition, meaning it feeds on dead things. So a fungi is not, but it is a microorganism. Yeah, it's just like the same, but it is not a disease vector. You understand? So it is not. Then B says, in this case particularly, B says mosquito transmitting malaria. What does it mean? Mosquito is an insect, but it doesn't just stop in the fact that it is an insect. A mosquito has the ability to transmit a disease-causing organism we know as plasmodium. And that plasmodium is what will now cause malaria. Like we know, we have about 4 species of plasmodium. One we call Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, and these 4 are the major ones. And the one that is very, very, if it enters, like it bites you, the female anopheles mosquito bites you, and it gives you this falciparum. It's that one that it really has a very, very strong effect. It is very powerful compared to the other 3 Plasmodium species. So this tells you that B is the answer, because mosquito is an insect and it also carries a what? It is a vector because it carries a disease causing organism we know as a pathogen. Then let's just look at option C and D for more explanation. C says bacteria causing food poisoning. Now, what is a bacteria? You know a bacteria is a microorganism, right? Good. But is it a vector? Can it carry a disease-causing organism? Can it be an insect or an organism that can carry disease pathogens? Do you understand? In this case, it's not. Then D says algae producing oxygen through photosynthesis. We know that algae are under the kingdom Plantae, and they are under what division? They are under division we refer to as talophytes, meaning that they can produce their own food through photosynthesis. Example of an algae is the Spirogyra, the ones we see in marine habitat like the sargassum, the diatoms, the seaweed. So when you look at the bottom of the sea, you see some look close to the corals or reef. You see something that looks like a weed. But remember that the sunlight cannot get to the bottom of the ocean, hence photosynthesis cannot occur. So you tend to see most of these sea weeds, which are what you tend to see most of them not at the bottom but close a bit at the rock or the reefs. So that those are mostly what algae. Doesn't mean you can't see plants. Of course you can. So this tells you automatically that the answer is what B. I hope with this I've been able to explain this. So without wasting much of our time, let's dive right into question number 3. Stay tuned and I'll be right back. So welcome back to Canister's Classroom, and I hope you're actually getting enough value for your time. Now let us don't waste any time and look at question number 3. It says, which of the following is not a part of the alimentary canal? Now this question not reminds me of what the video I did in episode 1, where I told you some tips that should be noted while reading or going through any question. That sometimes if you are confused, if you have a question and the options are presented before you, always try to remove those 2 options that are not related to the answer, and then you're left with 2 other which you can narrow down. Then another thing is looking at some questions that are regarded to what we refer to as conditional statements. Those questions have to do with is not. So not now is here, and if you don't read that word, you'll get a different meaning from the word question. So we have a question like this. It says, which of the following is not part of the alimentary canal? Now, what is the alimentary canal? You can give me the answer. I know you know that. Yes. Now, the alimentary canal is just a reminder. If I'm to remind you, it is that pathway through which food passes during direct digestion, rather, until it is finally assimilated into the body, and then the undigested food is also passed out. So in essence, the alimentary canal is the pathway for what food during digestion and even after digestion, because the one that is not digested will pass out through another pathway, a continuation though. So the alimentary canal actually starts in the mouth, and it is different for different organisms. Yes, the alimentary canal of a bird is different from the alimentary canal of humans, and it's also different for the alimentary canal of herbivores, carnivores, and so on and so forth. Do you understand? So let us look at rather the alimentary canal of man. Now when you look at the alimentary canal of man, you'll find out something. Like the alimentary canal of man, it is more longer than that of a bird. Yes, it should be. When looking at a bird and a human, you can see the difference in size. And then another thing that most of the common thing between the alimentary canal of birds, mammals, and other is that they tend to have the alimentary canal divided into 3 parts. That is the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut. Do you understand? And it is in that midgut you tend to see the stomach. At the foregut you tend to see the esophagus, and at the hindgut you tend to see the anus. So let me quickly explain the parts or list out the pathways of the alimentary canal of humans. It starts in the mouth, then down to the pharynx, then we have the esophagus, then we have the esophagus is here, close to the trachea, the windpipe, and it is covered by a cartilage we call epiglottis. So when food passes through the esophagus, let me start again. It starts in the mouth, then we have the pharynx, then we have the esophagus going down into the stomach, and then we have the small intestine, the large intestine, and of course the anus. Now, the thing I want to say, when you get down from the esophagus down to the stomach, It moves down to the stomach through a means or movement. This is a possible question the race asks. Food moves down through the stomach after it is chewed in the mouth, mixed with the saliva to form a chili. That's a semi-liquid. It is rolled up, a semi-solid. It is rolled up in its tongue and forms a bolus. It then moves down through the esophagus. When it gets down to the stomach, it gets to the stomach through a method we call peristaltic movement. So through peristaltic movement, it moves the movement of the walls, the sides of the walls of the stomach or the intestine, then to push it as it's pushing the food is moving through a rhythmic movement of the walls, sides of the intestine, and the walls of the stomach. So when the food enters the stomach, remember the stomach has what? Two enzymes and the HCl acid, which is produced by the stomach. So the stomach produces two enzymes, enzyme renin and enzyme pepsin. And it also produces the HCl, which is referred to as the hydrochloric acid, that enables those two enzymes work in an acidic environment. The saliva produces this thiolin, which is alkaline in nature, the saliva, and it helps the class, any food class that belongs to carbohydrates to be digested, because just like we know that digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth. You understand? Good. Now, when the food passes down from the mouth to the stomach, there are two organs that help in digestion of the food different food classes, but they're not part of the alimentary canal. These are the liver and the pancreas. The liver and the pancreas, listen again, are not part of the alimentary canal, but they help in what? Digestion. What do? The liver produces the bile, B-I-L-E. Bile. Now this substance, bile, helps in the emulsification of fats. What does that mean? Emulsification of fat simply means the breaking down, that is tion. Emulsification of fat simply means the breaking down of fat into tiny droplets that can now be absorbed by the body. Do you understand? Good. So the liver produces bile for emulsification of fats. Then the pancreas, what does it produce? It produces the pancreatic juice, which is alkaline in nature and contains enzymes, three enzymes that helps in the digestion of three classes of food. The first one, trypsin, helps in the digestion of protein. The next one, amylase, helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. And the last one, lipase, helps in the digestion of fat and oil. Do you understand? But the liver and pancreas, remember, they're not parts of the alimentary canal. Then when the food passes down to the stomach, it enters the first part of the stomach, we refer to as the duodenum. Now, I always tell students, if you want to remember the parts of the small intestine, use this acronym or this slogan I thought of, which I refer to as DJ ileum. Yes, DJ ileum. Now look at DJ ileum. Now with this, you can remember that the three parts of the small intestine, I mean the small intestine divided into three parts, which are these stands. The first part of the small intestine was referred to as the duodenum. Duodenum. This is part number one. Part number two is what we refer to as the jejunum. This is Jejnu. The jejunum. Then the third one is also referred to as the ileum. It's already written there. So it is in this third part that digestion of food occurs through a structure we call villi, finger-like structure that blood vessels passes. Blood vessels that are bringing blood from the other organs, the liver and other organs, hepatic portal vein. We bring in and take in these nutrients. So the villi will help in the assimilation and absorption of food. In case you're asked, it's a common question. Dash 8 absorption of food in the small intestine. Villi, where is it found? In the small intestine. Where in the small intestine? Inside the ileum. Hello, I hope you're getting that. Alright, thank you. So that means that I've divided the three parts of the small intestine. Another thing, when the food now gets down from the duodenum, and ileum, it now enters the large intestine. Now in the large intestine, that's why divided into three. The part that goes up, we call the transverse large intestine. Good. The part that goes cross-sectional, we call the part that goes up, we call the ascending large intestine. The one that goes like this, we call it cross-sectional, and the one that goes down to go into the rectum and the anus, we call it the descending large intestine. I hope you get that. So this large intestine, when food enters from the ileum into the large intestine, it is there that water is being reabsorbed so that most of the feces can be formed at the anus and then finally removed from the body through the anus. So if you get me right with all this explanation, I don't think you should be confused again on this question, because I have mentioned the pathways and I'm sure you can get the answer to that. So without wasting much of the time, which of them is among the alimentary canal or the pathway through which food passes during digestion? Is it the esophagus A, B, large intestine, C, liver, or D, small intestine? It simply tells you that the answer is what? C, which is what? Liver. It is not. So I hope with this you've been able to, because these questions are questions we tend to see in form and functions, and also we tend to see it in nutrition, which is still under form and functions when you're looking at the JAMB syllabus in biology. So stay tuned for a more interesting episode still on biology past questions, especially as we are rounding up our readings and studies in preparation for the UTME examination. And this is just me trying to make sure that you score high. And I wish you'll be able to tune into this channel, watch more of these videos from this channel, and get more educated, more informed. Remember, I am here to give you value for the time. I am here to make biology more simplified in terms you would understand and you will not easily forget. I'm here to make sure that your 2024 UTME JAMB experience is a nice and wonderful experience with a very good score. See you in my next video. Thumbs up, and please keep subscribing. Bye.